Hello, I am going to be talking about Theresa Coffey, our new Health Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, and her instructions to staff about being grammatically precise, which got a very snotty response from The Guardian. But first, before I carry on with that, I'm just going to say I might be offline for a couple of days because I'm going up to London to visit the Queen. I'm just sorry it's such a sad occasion. I would have much rather been invited to one of her famous garden parties. Okay, yes, and actually, hang on a minute. I just realised the T-shirt I'm wearing is quite appropriate. Do you know that children's nursery rhyme? Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to visit the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what did you there? I frightened a little mouse under her chair. Well, I just realised, you see, I'm going up to London to visit the Queen, and I'm not a pussycat, I'm a Rottweiler. I got this when my dear departed Rottweiler was still alive. She was a lovely dog. Anyone who tells you Rottweilers are stinkers are completely wrong. It's owners who are stinkers. But let's get back to Theresa Coffey, who is doing her own Rottweiler impersonation by coming into the office and telling her staff she wants the stuff they're writing for her to be grammatically precise. Now, the people who are being snotty about this are The Guardian, famously known even to its most avid of fans as the Growniad. It was famous for its misprints. That's because it's a heavily unionised paper, heavily socialist sympathies, and they couldn't sack anyone. So they were using hot lead. The Printers Union had kept them using hot lead long after everyone else had gone digital. They're digital now, I think, but it's a completely different world now, and they had to do that or go under. The Printers Union, the printers who were very strong, the force was strong with them in The Guardian, they just more or less slammed down what they wanted, and it was always full of misprints, and it hasn't lost that reputation since then. And I have commented on bad grammar, but that's the fault of the journalists in The Guardian. Good grammar is very important. Okay, so they are complaining about the Oxford comma. Actually, that's quite important. And it should be used, but sparingly. What she is saying is that you can't use Oxford commas all the time. The Oxford comma is the comma before and. Generally speaking, the rule is a conjunction like and cannot have a comma in front of it. We had bread and cheese, not we had bread, comma, and cheese. That's not necessary. But if you want to say something like, I love my parents, Lady Gaga, and Humpty Dumpty, then you've got to be careful with the comma. For instance, I love my parents, comma, Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty. That comes out as, my parents are Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty. Therefore, you should put a comma in front of the and that shows that it's a list separated off in some way in the middle of another list or at the end of another list. Anyway, you get the idea. So she urges staff to be positive, be precise and not use Oxford commas. I'll bet you she said a lot more, but The Guardian had to pick on those particular things. Right, let's just go down a bit more. So Theresa Coffey, the new Health Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister, by the way, has faced criticism. No, she hasn't. They've criticised her. She's taking no notice of them. After civil servants in her department were advised to avoid jargon when communicating with her. And that's a very good idea. Jargon is meaningless most of the time. And not to use Oxford commas. Apparently that's her pet hate. It doesn't matter. She didn't say not to use them. She said avoid using them because they have to be used in a very precise way, and a lot of people just throw in commas before the and, whether it's necessary or not. Now, I have to make this point here. This woman is the health secretary. It means that she gets a blizzard of documents every day. She's got to sit there reading through it. Everything she signs off is signed off in her name. And if there's something wrong with it, she gets the blame, not the civil servants who misworded it. So she has to make sure that what she gets to read is instantly comprehensible, and she doesn't have to go back and read it again to make sense of it. And grammar is the important way of conveying this. People who spend a lot of time communicating with their voices forget that we add our commas and full stops and parentheses in the tones of our voice. And that's where the problem with Twitter and emails often occur, when people don't put the commas in the right place and it looks like you're being offensive in some way, or not necessarily just commas, other grammatical refinements as well. So she's absolutely right. And instead of The Guardian celebrating this, that we have a health secretary here who doesn't word sloppily, who likes things to be precise, they're getting all sort of, yeah, well, she's super patronising, they say. Well, sloppy staff might consider her being super patronising, but that's because they're sloppy, not because she is. All right, well, that's it. The importance of grammar. It is important. You don't have to know the names of every single grammatical term, but you do have to know how to punctuate so it's understood what you're saying. That the worst thing a writer can do is make the people who are reading the work have to read it twice or three times to get the sense out of it. That's very rude. It's also extremely inefficient. And as I say, when you're reading documents by the stack, the language has to be efficient, and jargon is a waste of time. All right. Yeah, that's it. I'm Granniopteryx. I am to be found on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and Minds. Yeah, got that right. And at Granniopteryx on Twitter, Gab and Parler. Please support my channel by liking, sharing and subscribing. Watch out for YouTube subscriptions drop, so check that out. If you subscribe to my social media ones, the Twitter, Gab and Parler, I will let you know when I've uploaded something, so you don't have to rely, especially on YouTube, for notifications. Okay, that's it. Also, you can support my channel by buying me a coffee or clicking one of the links below, Subscribestar or PayPal, to donate if you feel so inclined. But liking, sharing and subscribing is an excellent way of supporting this channel. Okay, that's it. Well, I don't know whether I'll be uploading another video in a couple of days, but, well, see you soon, whenever that is. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Granbo, with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com, and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.